Hello guys, Jack here and welcome to Vedelem. This is a strategy-based building game where you defend your kingdom against the Mongol invasion. You have to build up your economy to build defensive units and get upgrades to survive. The word Vedelem means defense in Hungarian, which is where this game is set. In the mid-1200s, the Mongols invaded, and over many years the Hungarians eventually repelled them, stopping the western advance of the Mongol hordes. This was in big part due to stone castles, which the Mongols just couldn't deal with, and later on the extensive building of stone walls, which feature heavily in your game plan. You have archers, swordsmen, and spearmen against the enemy with similar units, but of course they have many mounted units. It's kind of similar to Kingdoms and Castles if you've played that game, but a little bit different. It has more realistic graphics because it's made in the Unity engine. But the main difference is that this is a free game. You can find it on Steam under Vedelem, the Golden Horde. And it's also made by students. They made it in just a year during COVID as their school project, which is pretty impressive. It definitely has its flaws. In like endless mode, after about an hour, the game just crashes because there's so many units and you can't really survive. But the scenarios are really fun. I'm playing in the hard scenario right now, and you can see we've only been here for about 4 minutes and there's already a good number of enemies. When I started, I got a couple sawmills up, I needed to get some stone, and then I got my training base up and pumped out some swordsmen, which only cost food, and then I got some archers. You can see these guys came from the east and they went straight for my keep, which doesn't heal, so we're at 75% HP, which isn't great. But we get a little bit more stone up, and you can see I start building walls. When your keep is level 1, the walls are wooden and you're not able to get a lot of upgrades. But kind of just like Age of Empires, you can age up or improve your keep, and you need stone and wood, or wood and food, depending on what age you are. And then it gives you access to different upgrades. Like one of the first ones I'm going to do is upgrade my archers to level 2, which makes them more effective. And then just gives you different abilities so you can unlock. Like you can make your archers attack faster or deal more damage, and same things for your swordsmen and stuff like that. Pretty interesting. When you place a sawmill, you have a number of trees that, you could place it with no trees and it wouldn't do anything, but like there's a number that pops up, and that's how many trees are in the area, and it will slowly chop those down at the rate of 2 wood per second. And then once all those trees are gone, it will end and there'll be no more wood. It's the same for quarries, but I found I haven't really exhausted them during a game. Even in endless mode, they last quite a bit, and you only really use stone a couple times to age up, and then when you're building walls, and it's not that big of a deal. The other one you'll see is when I'm placing farms, there'll be like an efficiency marker, and farms just need lots of open space. However, once you place farms, you can then build stuff on them and it doesn't affect the efficiency. Again, it's just a student game, so there's lots of little things like that, but it's not too big of a deal. I think this game is fun for like 3 hours or something like that, and for a free game, that's pretty good. Beyond like the game crashing when there's too many units online and the units kind of glitch, I didn't really encounter any bugs, and that sounds bad, but it's really at the very end, and it doesn't really matter because at that point it felt like I could just keep going on forever. But they really do ramp up the number of units at an hour, and it goes kind of crazy. If you look in the top, you can see our population, the top left there, and you use that to build units. You have to have population space for them, and you can also put archers on top of your walls, and they need that too. You get them by placing houses down, which you can see I just placed 2. They flash white, and then when they build, they go to complete, and you get 40 population room. There's wood, of course, which is from the sawmills, and you use that for pretty much everything. And these resources go up to a certain cap. Each building you make, be it for stone or wood, you can choose to get an upgrade for it, which gives you a trickle effect for it, or more importantly, storage effect, which you end up getting to. And you can see a couple seconds ago, we upgraded to a level 3 keep, and so we got stone walls, which look pretty cool and are much more defendable. And then you can see our game plan here, just slowly expanding, placing farms down when there's an open location, dropping a sawmill down so we get more wood, and plopping a quarry down so we can mine stone. There's also iron, which looks kind of like a red rock. You can see it in the very top right of the screen right now. And you use that to build spearmen and get upgrades. you can see besides like at the very start of the game when there was that horde of enemies that came and attacked my keep, I was on a bit of a back foot, but I managed to have enough units and it was okay. And here from the north, here's another attack. The enemies have walked right through my walls because I left a gap, and they're getting pretty close to the keep, but I pull my reinforcements from the north down. I like how the farms look too. They're kind of cool circles and the wheat looks nice. And it kind of reminds me of Banished a bit too, with all the buildings just plopped down. Enemies can walk through the gates too, which I didn't know until later in the game, and that's kind of annoying. But at the same time, it focuses the enemy into one spot and makes them much easier to deal with. You can see they destroyed 1 or 2 buildings, but no biggie. We killed them by sending our army down to deal with them. And you can see we skip forward again here, and here's more enemies coming through. And if you look in the top left, you'll see the last Mongolian army will approach in 10 minutes and 40 seconds. So that is the end of this scenario. There's a huge army that comes, and you better make sure you're ready, because they'll try and kick your ass. You can see I have all of my military production buildings kind of all together because there's no hotkeys for anything, so you have to click on it, and so it's nice to just keep them by your keep, and then you know where they are and you can click. And you come over here, there's a huge little box of archers over there, but we managed to get the fire arrow upgrade, which does area damage, and later on in the game for the final attack we'll zoom in on the enemies and you'll see them just absolutely shredded. And here one of these guys just runs through all of our armies because he really wants to destroy the house, but he gets wrecked. Here we go, pop a few more farms down, get a sawmill up, but now those things are open, so you have to kind of balance expanding. If you expand too quick, the enemies will destroy your things. I mean, you can always rebuild them, but technically it's part of your score, which is what you're going for. If they destroy them, you'll lose score, so you don't want to expand too quickly. And you see there's lots of wood in this area. And here you go, the enemies come from the south, that area where I expanded, and then just immediately destroy those buildings, which is a bit unfortunate. And one of the things I mentioned in the intro is that the Mongolians weren't really able to deal with castles or stone walls because they didn't really have effective siege weapons. And, you know, they had a mounted force, and it was really good for engaging enemies in the open because obviously with mounted horsemen, they can ride at you, shoot their bows, run away, feint a retreat, shoot again. They can do a caracol, rotating around you like a carousel, and just shoot at you. And if you don't have the right kind of troop, it's really difficult to deal with. If you've ever played like Mount & Blade, either the old one or the new one, you play against the Khajiits, and they're doing a good job. It's so annoying, especially if you try to do like a playthrough where you only have footmen. You're so vulnerable to them and you really can't do anything. And the army is approaching in just about 2 minutes, so I'm getting ready. I'm building a few more houses so I can build more archers, which are my favorite units. The spearmen and swordmen are okay, but I mean they're basically just a one-on-one versus the horsemen because they're out in the open. The advantage of archers, I mean, obviously, is you can hide behind walls and rain terror on the enemy and keep yourself safe. I really like too how your base slowly evolves, like with all the walls and stuff. I think it looks pretty interesting. I also like the natural barriers in the game. Here there's some mountains in the north and the south, but in other maps there's also like rivers and stuff, and there you can see a lake there in the bottom left. And again, for a free game, you know, maybe it's just the Unity engine, it looks pretty good. There's also the pop-ups in the bottom left, of course, telling you where things are, and right there, that in the keep was the armory, which is where you get upgrades. And here we go, here's the final battle. You can see there's a lot of Mongols coming. No more point building eco upgrades, we just have to defend our base. This is the final fight. And it's reasonably satisfying how units move. It's kind of like a cheapo version of Total War. And there you go. Look at you absolutely shredding the cavalry. They just all fall over and die. You almost feel bad for the horses. And they managed to break through in the north a little bit, coming through our northern wall, so I sent some reinforcements up that way. And I'm still producing units because you never know. I realize there's nothing happening in the south, so I want to send these guys up north to help with my defense. And here we go, now we're fighting over here. You can see some of their units just getting absolutely shredded there. And the shadows on the arrows are nice too. Boom, gone. This game, if it had body persistence, would be crazy. However, like I said, it came out in 2021. It's just a student project, so there'll be no more updates. What you see is what you get. And, you know, it's pretty impressive. At the time, there's only a couple games like this where you build a kingdom and manage your eco, and then you also have to defend it. It's become a much more popular game as of late. And again, for a year project as students, I think they did a fantastic job. And then I pop up to the north, I'm like, is that it? And I'm like, oh my god, there's still a lot of units up there. We've defeated them on every other flank, so it's just this one, and I think we'll be okay. Build some walls just for fun. And I just love watching them get shredded. Here we go, their last block. I think we're gonna make it. And there they go. Hey, thanks so much for watching, guys. Like I said, the game's free, so check it out if you're interested. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed, consider subscribing, puts a big grin on my face, and have a lovely day. Take care.